Ever since Resident Evil 7's reveal, much has been said and written about the game's direction, and now we have a rather lengthy interview with Masachika Kawata, who spoke to Game Informer. Now, of course, I won't be going through the whole interview here because, well, it's really long. I'm just going to be picking a few tidbits, and of course, we'll be linking the source in the description below this video. Now, one question that he answers that I am definitely interested in is why they made the decision to call this Resident Evil 7 rather than just having it reboot the series. You know, given how different the game is in its look and its feel, and of course the narrative from what we've seen, which of course isn't a huge amount, that is a valid question to ask. And he said, quote, "If you look at just the gameplay that's been shown so far, you may think of it as a reboot at first, but the story and narrative have shaped up to fit the series as a numbered title. It's still a Resident Evil title which draws on the series' roots of horror, exploration, puzzles and combat, while offering something new. Rather than playing it safe and sticking with what we're used to, we strive to create something new that would impact players in a different way with a more immersive personal experience. We wanted to create a game that really pushes survival horror to the forefront and focus on what makes a game scary while still being fun and entertaining experience from a gameplay perspective." And on that similar theme, of course, Resident Evil 7 is not only a pretty big departure from the series in general, it's a especially big departure from the more recent entries in the series, that being Resident Evil 5 and 6, and to a lesser degree, Resident Evil 4. Those games, even 4, which I do love, very much so, were more action orientated. However, 5 and especially 6 took that to the point where it basically wasn't Resident Evil anymore, let's be real. But now, of course, we're going way back to horror, you know, probably more horror than the games have been in a long time. So why did they feel that now was the time to make that gear change back to horror? You know, a gear change I very much appreciate because, well, it's supposed to be survival horror, not an action game with zombies. And he said, quote, "We had 3 consecutive Resident Evil titles filled with action, and we figured this would be a good time to switch gears and challenge ourselves to do something new. The past few titles have increased to a grander scale, and we approached the 20th anniversary and evaluated the series' legacy and roots. We're inspired to create something more personal this time around. What better way to celebrate the franchise than to return to its roots in survival horror and take it in a new direction with an immersive, terrifying experience." Now, the last thing I want to touch on in this sort of running theme of going back to roots but at the same time revitalising things, we'll be seeing any elements from the previous games, including characters, of course, enemies, puzzles, that sort of thing. I mean, just from what I've seen of the demo, the being in the basement does definitely give me Tyrant vibes, although it doesn't look exactly like Tyrant. But it's definitely an inspiration thing going on there, so perhaps we'll see that transition over to the full game. But, he says, quote, "Based on just the atmosphere and graphics alone, it might be difficult to recognise it as a Resident Evil title upon first glance, but rest assured that RE7 continues many of the hallmarks that fans love, including exploration, item management and puzzles. We've really made a lot of effort to strengthen the core of survival horror to the fullest to get the sense that this truly is a Resident Evil title when you get your hands on it. The game also embodies one of the central themes of Resident Evil, which is the balance of tension from fearful situations with the relief from being able to overcome them." So he very much skirted around the answer there, unfortunately, and it kind of lines up with why the demo is going to be so different from the actual game and why we haven't actually seen any gameplay or trailers of the actual game. It's all been like, you know, sort of hints and teasers, but we haven't seen any real information about the main game, apart from a few bits revealed here and there. And his answer was basically to say, you know, this is a horror game, it's all about the discovery. You don't want to, know beforehand, or how do I escape this situation? What's hidden around that corner? What's behind that door? That kind of thing. So that's obviously why he doesn't want to reveal a little bit about, or too much about, should I say, any returning elements that we might be having from earlier in the series. However, I do think we will at least see some influence, even if we don't see a direct appearance of, say, like Ada or Leon or whoever from Resident Evil. We're definitely going to be seeing some influence in the design of the enemies. As I said, that turret light being in the basement, again, very like Tyrant, and while we definitely will be seeing some new ideas on display as well, I wonder if we will be seeing, say for example, hunters or lickers or something sort of in that redesigned sort of theme of the Tyrant-like being. We'll be seeing those inspire new creatures where you can still tell where they came from, but are different enough that they feel like they actually belong in this new and different direction. That's pure speculation on my part, but just based upon what I played of the demo, that seems like a logical thought process to go through for Resident Evil 7 here. As I said, there is way more in the interview that I haven't touched on here. They also talk about VR and a few other bits that I haven't discussed here, so I will include it as a link in the description as I promised, and it's there for your perusal. Give it a read. It is very interesting indeed, so I suggest you give it a look-see. If you're at all interested in Resident Evil 7, I am really looking forward to this game. It's quite a way to kick off 2017, and fingers crossed it's good, because the demo has been pretty promising actually. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.